To be honest, it can be anything you want it to be.
Okay.
Not necessarily we need avatars.
Yeah.
I think just the sense of having an ID in the virtual space and that you have a say and a power, that is enough. But I think when we bring the avatar, it's almost like there is a deeper connection between your physical body and that digital body. So maybe at some point, I am a pro cyborg, so I don't mind if one day you can just like change parts.
Yeah.
That's the trend now.
Oh, have an extra arm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why not? The term metaverse, I think it's really not the favorite of brands today. But then the tool is still there and it's being very used because Roblox has like 250 million active users every month.
Hello, visionaries. Take your front row seat at the future of fashion. I'm your host, Dr. Karen, and at today's episode on Rewire Fashion, we're diving into the metaverse, not as a buzzword, but as a stage where fashion experiments with identity, culture, and legacy. At the center of this shift is Dr. Giovanna Casimiro, professor, advisor, curator, and many, many things more, and the force behind the Metaverse Fashion Week. She pushes fashion beyond the runway into immersive spaces where luxury meets community and digital creativity shapes tomorrow's heritage. Together, we'll explore how digital fashion can move beyond spectacle into something lasting, emotional, and I guess even historic. Thank you, Giovanna, for being here. I'm very happy to have you at my podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm super excited for the conversations we have today. And I was honored with the introduction. Very bold, the way you organized.
Bold, yeah.
Very bold, the way you put it together.
That's how you are, or who you are, right?
I'm not sure, but...
Yeah. No, I mean, I followed you for a while now, and it's quite impressive what you've done.
Thank you.
And that's why I'm so happy to have you here. And I just wanted to jump right into it and just talk about the metaverse. You know, it's there was a hype, right? You were there.
I was.
It was like a big hype, and people would just use the metaverse all the time as a buzzword. So to someone from the fashion world who is not in the tech world, how would you describe the metaverse?
Well, first, you mean in today's world or at that time?
I think we are in the moment, right? So
I think today the metaverse still exists, but I think it became something else. But to me, it's pretty much a virtual space where people gather, you know, and that can happen in multiple platforms that are connected, which is, let's say, cross-platforms. And also it could be through mixed reality or augmented reality or gaming. So I think it's just this community virtual space. So that's what Metaverse always meant to me.
Okay.
And of course, when you look into the technical side of it, there are multiple technologies that can enable the Metaverse to exist. So of course, we had virtual worlds, we have blockchain, not necessarily needs to be on-chain, but you have that solution also. You have different technologies like VR. So I think it depends which is the angle that you look into, but to me, it's really a place where community has a say and an opportunity to rebuild the internet or make an internet for all.
Okay, that's very interesting, and I think even a very simple definition of the metaverse, which I like, because I quite often hear like definitions of metaverse which are quite technical and complicated, and so your focus is really about the community, right?
And about the people.
Yeah, the people, they meet at a place and that's it. Okay, love that.
I think if I have to just look into a timeline that maybe it's easier for people to visualize that when we were in the Web 1, we were just reading pre-existing content. So it's a one-way road. Then we enter Web 2, which is social media era. Then we start writing the content. But we still don't own the content. We still are not part of the decisions that are on the framework of that cyberspace, as we used to call. And I think that's what the metaverse starts bringing. It starts bringing a place for people to exist in the digital space and take ownership back. That's how I see it poetically.
Okay. Existing means that you have an identity.
Yes.
And ownership means that you have ownership over assets, like digital assets. Is that correct?
Correct. And your own body, too, because I think a big jump between the world pre-metaverse and post-metaverse is that the idea of having a digital body as an extension of your identity becomes popular with the birth of this metaverse. When metaverse becomes popular, that's when everybody of all age groups will start saying, okay, I can have an avatar. Before, it was a very isolated conversation within the game industry.
And so you're talking about a digital body or a body, a personality, or an avatar. Could it be something different than an avatar? Is it always an avatar, your extension of your body in the digital space?
I think, to be honest, it can be anything you want it to be.
Okay, good.
I think that not necessarily we need avatars. I think just the sense of having an ID in the virtual space and that you have a say and a power, that is enough. But I think when we bring the avatar, it's almost like there is a deeper connection between your physical body and that digital body, even if that digital body doesn't represent your physical self, it's an extension in a different shape or form. I don't know, you want to be a giant broccoli maybe. So that's your body in the metaverse, that's fine. But I think that still says something about you. And that changes how I think the younger generations, the younger Gen Zs and the Gen Alphas, they also will perceive who they are in the physical space.
I see.
Because that phenomena continue to happen inside video games that are social by nature, like Fortnite and Roblox and ZEPETO and many others.
Interesting. Yeah, and I mean, to be honest, if we think about our physical body, I mean, we're not just our body, right? We're way more. So even if if our body is paralyzed, we can still think, we can still act, right? So probably this is similar. So it's really, you have a body in the digital space, but it could be not a body, maybe just your soul, right? Something that is not visible. I mean, if you believe in souls or whatever you want to call it, so maybe you just transfer your soul into the metaverse and have power over it.
It's like your consciousness, right? I think that if that's the actual source of who you are, then why that is bound to a specific type of a body. And this is personally a big conversation for me because I think the discussion around transhumanism and cyborgs is something that really, it's part of my personal interest.
Okay,
and I think this what you were saying is exactly the point. Like, if the source of who we are, it's not maybe bound to our physical body. And we feel that more today because of the digital spaces.
100%, yeah.
So then, can we upgrade this body? Do we care so much about this body? I don't know. There's so many fundamental questions that will rise from that.
Yeah, and a lot of people would have less problems as well because, especially nowadays, I mean, okay, we're not Gen Alpha, or we're not, we're not as young anymore. So probably, I mean, we didn't grow up in an environment where we had a lot of social pressure, or we had, but not as much as young kids or teenagers have today, about their appearance, how they look like, and it's so important that that you're beautiful, that you're handsome, that you're this, that you're trained, that you're skinny, etc. So probably, if we wouldn't care so much about our physical bodies, we would probably be a bit more relaxed, right?
Or maybe if our bodies, they were really something that we can customize, because I feel that going into that direction of beauty and aesthetics specifically, we see that there is the rise of micro trends that define how people look like. And I'm not just talking about the hair, I'm talking about surgical interventions and Botox and fillers. So what is the limit of how much we can keep customizing who we are based on the micro trends, right? So maybe at some point, I am a pro cyborg, so I don't mind if one day you can just change parts. That's the trend now, glowing face. And
have an extra arm.
Exactly, why not?
Sometimes I wish I had an extra hand, here I have my bag, here I have I don't know what, and I'm carrying around a lot of stuff. But it's actually true. And also you're talking about the microtrends. what if the microtrend is over and you change your physique already, and can you change it again, or is there a limit? So this is definitely an issue, but we see kind of like avatars. I mean, it's not avatars, but on social media, the filters, right, where a lot of people look exact the same, or they look skinnier than they are, or just like more perfect, right, or whatever perfect is, and then in reality you see them and you wouldn't recognize them. So I think that's already, it's not an avatar, but it's kind of like it's going into the same direction, if I may say that. So.
I think it's a deconstruction. The way you perceive yourself is different, but I would say that in that sense I think an avatar is healthier, because there is a space for the surreal, the impossible, and then maybe it's slightly more playful. Then I think this layer of augmented beauty that is really bound to certain standards. It's not really, I want to be a broccoli. It's like, I need to look like a particular person, or a certain trend. And I think that really impacts how people perceive their physical self. And I think that, of course, triggers a lot of other issues that are not just related to social media, like into the body dysmorphia, and then you enter into, I think we should be more, I always raise that flag that I think for way too long we have been delegating the liability and responsibility on tech into a third party side, like a company is taking care of the tech. They should change the rules. But should it be? Because now with AI, we are teaching AI all the time. So I think we should take it more personally. Like it is our responsibility. Tech is not somebody's big corporation. Responsibility is ours.
And especially we know, I mean, those are probably not always the most responsible ones, I would say. I mean, just to go back to the metaverse, I mean, when was the metaverse hype? In 21, 22, around that, if I remember correctly. And now we're in 2025. So is metaverse already passé, or is it still here and we're just using it wrong? Because I remember everyone wanted to build a metaverse, and metaverse here, metaverse there. Is it like, what is it? Is it out? I mean, out of fashion, out of what happened? What happened with metaverse?
I think that the metaverse, as we were using it in 2021, 2022, definitely changed. So I think today where we see success with metaverse or like virtual worlds bound to communities is really where the alphas and the young Gen Zs are. So the big numbers and where the brands are putting a lot of money is on games like Roblox.
And it's not so much the virtual like worlds that maybe the older generation is.
I mean, it depends. I think that depends what you mean by that. Like if they're maybe we're looking for something extremely high resolution. If that's what you're looking, I think Roblox has different types of experiences. So you can go and see experiences created by players, which are kids. And they will build something that is very low res, is really for them to share with friends. But there is also experiences that are super well done, like Alo Yoga experience. And then, of course, you had Gucci Town right in the beginning. And then you keep seeing brands coming. And not just that, I think the entertainment industry has been doing a lot there with premieres of films coming strong in Roblox.
Oh, really? Okay, I didn't know about that.
Exactly. So the studio that I work with, Sohorse, we do a lot of things with Universal, with MGM, and for example, Beetlejuice was there, and How to Train Your Dragon, Kung Fu Panda. So I think
Kung Fu Panda as well.
It's fun, you know.
That's cute.
And so I think that there is really a big opportunity in those spaces that now are being called social gaming platforms.
Okay, so it's not so much about metaverse
as
anymore. As a term. So we call it now
social gaming.
Social
and
gaming.
I think honestly that we had to sacrifice. It's like, you know, like you overstretch and then you overuse the term and now that term is dead. So the term metaverse, I think it's really not the favorite of brands today. But then the tool is still there and is being very used because Roblox has like 250 million active users every month.
Wow. Yeah.
So we're talking about big numbers, big impression numbers. Same for ZEPETO, which is a more Asian. It's a very interesting platform that mixes social media with digital avatars, virtual worlds, and they have about 20 million users a month, which is not bad
Which is a
either.
good number, yeah.
And then Fortnite, which is strong when we're talking about, I would say, like slightly older teens. And there is more. But these are just examples of very successful platforms that continue the legacy of the metaverse we were talking in 2021, let's say.
Okay, I see. But you would say, can we say that the metaverse, the term is dead?
I think the term, yes.
Okay.
We feel afraid of using it.
Yeah.
There is a stigma.
There is a stigma. Similar to NFTs as well, by the way. If you say NFTs, I mean, some people are like almost scared. It's
they
like,
check their wallet.
Exactly. It's like, oh, okay. Although, I mean, the utility of an NFT is amazing and what you can do with it is amazing, but only because it was such a hype during COVID as well. People just said, "Oh no, that's nothing. That's just it's a scam," which is not. I mean, it has like a amazing utility, and I'm particularly a fan of NFTs using in connection with loyalty, like brand loyalty. Which I would love to see a brand actually having a huge breakthrough with that, like blockchain-based loyalty. But that's for another episode, I would say.
I think they're trying, but I think sometimes just an add-on to that, I think I question if we really need to talk about what is behind the loyalty program. See, because to me, the main mistake we made with Web3 movement and NFTs was to talk technically with the large audience. Like, do you need to know what your bank does behind the scenes? As long as you transfer the money arrives,
exactly.
Right? So how can you just facilitate that understanding to people? And I think that's what brands should be looking to. We're going to use blockchain, but it doesn't matter for my final consumer.
Correct,
as long as they can claim, redeem, ownership is there, etc.
And they don't even want to know if it's on the blockchain or whatever it is, right? Or in the space, But let's go back to 2022. You mentioned like many spaces, but you were involved in one of the spaces mainly, Decentraland, where you created the first ever Metaverse, can we still say it? Metaverse Fashion Week. Is that right? And can you explain how you approached it and what you did?
That's correct. So at that time, actually, when I started working on the Metaverse Fashion Week, I had recently joined Decentraland.
Okay.
So it was a very interesting moment for me because I just joined the company. It was a nonprofit because it was a foundation. Okay. It was a very interesting, different dynamic. There was a funding that was given by the DAO who founded Decentraland.
Okay. What is a DAO, if you could just mention it to our visionaries here?
It is a decentralized autonomous organization. And it's almost like not necessarily as a commune, but imagine that is like a community that has pieces of ownership into that platform. So imagine if we have the map of France and then every single citizen owns a little piece of that map and then they will vote together to make decisions on chain.
Yeah, it's a community voting, which is quite interesting.
It is incredible.
I love DAOs. I structured many DAOs, like from a legal perspective. Some DAOs are not a legal entity at all, right? They're just like just a few people or a few hundred people, 1,000 people together. But some of the DAOs actually wanted to become a bit more institutionalized also because of the risks. But that's also a different story. So we created a legal wrapper around it. But it's not always necessary to do that.
But I really like DAOs. And I think that, but I agree.
Big fan.
You need to have really some, I think, a legal perspective on it, so it's safe for everybody that joins.
Yeah.
And also the DAO is liable.
Yeah, correct.
For whatever they propose, right?
Yeah, and then if you don't have a legal wrapper that covers or shields the members of the DAO, they're equally liable for all the mistakes, right? Correct. Or whatever the DAO does or decides. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So Decentraland was, and it still is, a platform on chain that is bound by the DAO voting, and there was at the time, at my time, a foundation that was responsible to keep building experiences, tentpole events, really creating the content that would solidify that community and also set the example, like what can be done so the members of that community, the players, could build things on their own, inspired by what we were doing. So right after, I would say 3-4 months after I joined, that idea of the Metaverse Fashion Week came to life. At that time, that also came from UXND, which was the company that was also taking care of the licenses from Dolce & Gabbana at that time.
Oh, I see. I remember,
Yes, they were based in Dubai also. They were connected to Vogue Arabia.
Yeah, I remember
UNXT,
that, So what did they do with Dolce & Gabbana, if you could just quickly explain that?
So during that time, for the Metaverse Fashion Week, actually the project they created was the D&G family, which was an NFT project in which there were like those mysterious boxes. You would buy those boxes and for the same price. It was 1 Ether, if I'm not mistaken, at that time. And then after a while, they would release the different tiers. So it was like a lottery. You would buy a mysterious box, virtual box, and you don't know what kind of loyalty you got.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And then after a while, they would reveal, and then you would discover what kind of level of which tier you got in that particular community and the different types of access and perks and benefits. And I think that project kind of worked for a while, but unfortunately, UNXT and Dolce & Gabbana, I think they were sued last year.
Oh, why?
Yeah, because I think there was not 100% fulfillment of the promises that particular project was offering.
Yeah.
And I think some people got really upset with that. And I think that's going back to what you were saying, the mistake that I think brands do, and it's not their fault, is just because it's a very new thing, is that they are very excited. They want to launch a loyalty program. They want to create a community, but they don't have long-term vision.
Exactly.
And they don't understand that if they don't fulfill what they promise, it's almost like you want to buy a T-shirt and then you buy a T-shirt that has no sleeves.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Or it just falls apart very quickly.
What is the point? So
Yeah.
you need to look into your loyalty activations like that as a product, and you need to fulfill your promises or have clear roadmaps. So you set up expectations, and there is no expectations beyond, let's say, 6 months, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's it. But that project was very strong, and D&G was very active in the Metaverse Fashion Week. In the first edition, they had a great runway show, and
Okay, cool. But actually, it just reminds me of a project. I won't call them out or. But it's it's a beauty brand. I mean, they don't just do beauty, but particularly they issued an NFT, which I got. So it was for free, which was amazing. I was really excited. And then they said, you will have access to events, to special, editions of, perfumes, lipstick, whatever.
Okay.
And then nothing happened. So I still hold this NFT, but basically nothing happened. So what happened in my brain? I devalued the brand, right? For me, it was like, they don't keep the promise. They overpromised. They're not like, I cannot rely on them. Like all this like negative thoughts. And then I was like, that's actually bad if you don't keep the promise. Besides having a legal issue, that's a whole different topic. But actually, you devalue your brand. And it can be a backlash. It can really come back to you. And I never bought any product of them anymore. Not, subconsciously. Not like, it's like, I will boycott them. Not because of them, because of that. It was just subconsciously, like really subtle.
I think that this is what people need to understand. And of course, that moment was really a hype.
Yeah.
Especially, there were two things going on. You had the Metaverse hype, which is not bound to Web3.
Correct.
And then you had the Web3 wave. So everything was happening at the same time. And brands were just doing what they could. But my opinion is that I respect very much brands that waited and they simply didn't do anything. Because, see, the problem is sometimes you listen so many promises, everybody's trying to sell you solutions. But the truth is, does it resonate with what you are as a brand?
Yeah.
And maybe not. Like I will give an example, which is just an open example, like Chanel. Chanel is super conservative in their approach. But they should be, because they have a huge legacy to carry.
Yeah.
And who they are communicating with. They're not communicating with 15-year-old kids.
Exactly.
So I think that's the lack of understanding that was happening at the time. It still happened, but now brands are like more aware. They are super educated, versed in Web3, AI, Metaverse. And then they're more, I would say, prepared to say a no to a proposal. That's what I feel today.
That's true, yeah, because in the beginning I really had the feeling that everyone, like all the brands had to do something, or I mean a lot, and they made a lot of mistakes, right? It didn't fly. The product or the project didn't fly, and that's true. Some of them, they actually waited, but then actually jumped on the train a bit later and probably learned from the mistakes of the other ones and did it well, right? And I mean, you work together with brands. Which one, or even if it's not your client, which of the brands or projects you really like? Because it's just like a strategy, or because you like the strategy, or because you like the product, the activation. Can you name one or two?
Well, I think that there was one brand which I think still is active, which was the project Kiki World.
Yeah.
I think that they were, for me, an example of something that is really groundbreaking. And then I think when you look into e.l.f., for example, e.l.f. is a beauty brand that is like very low price point, but they have been doing very interesting activations. So I would say Fenty is definitely one that I think understand what is going on. And they activated on Roblox recently. They integrated with Shopify.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that, and that was also produced by Sohor. So I think that...
Oh, yeah. Tell me more about it. So
yes,
the integration, or is it, how does it work? Yeah, just walk us through.
So it's very simple. You go to Roblox, you go to the experience that Fenty has, and then you actually can buy physical products inside the game through Shopify. So it's almost like instead of you going to the website of Fenty Beauty, you can just have the experience on the game and just purchase from there. You don't have to leave the... not called Metaverse. We don't want to call the Metaverse. So the game. But the truth is that I think Fenty had a vision. They are very good in understanding the merge between physical and digital. So this is already an upgrade of an experience they did a few years ago, in which there was their first activation on Roblox. You would go and play the game. There was like a scavenger hunt sort of a thing. And then you'll be able to build your own lip gloss. And there was a voting system for that lip gloss to come to life in the physical world.
And they produced it?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, they take their customers and they integrate their customers in the product development, or is it...
In that particular experiment, the customers, yes, they participated on playing the game, experimenting with ingredients and creating their own lip glosses and voting on their favorite. I mean, and then Rihanna picked the favorite, and then that became a real product. So I think that they tried that. It's not that I feel, I mean, that is an answer for Fenty and LVMH to answer that. Do they have a system to include their consumers? But I think in Roblox, they tried that. And I think that became a very iconic use case. But that was after Metaverse Fashion Week, right? So going back to what you were asking, like when we started, it was really rough. It was the beginning. And Metaverse was the word of the moment. So as soon as we announced there will be a Metaverse Fashion Week, we had like tons of brands coming to us, and then the idea was to just create a space, replicate like a Cartier, where you have different shops and really replicate the physical world as is. The space we built for the Metaverse Fashion Week was inspired in Avenue Montaigne.
Nice. Which is the most luxurious, I would say, iconic street. Yeah, it's a beautiful street in Paris. Yeah,
it is.
And so you had luxury brands, but also, I would say, non-luxury brands.
It was, I think that was one of the biggest challenges when we were creating the map for the event at the time, how you can satisfy everyone.
and curate it, right? And that was your job.
That was my job, was to produce everything. That was to produce and to curate, and that's what I still do a lot today, production of those kind of experiences. But so the production included you understanding the demands of all the brands.
Yeah, wow.
What they want to build. Do you want to do a runway show? You want to do just a shop? You want to have on that shop like UGCs, which is like the wearables available for sale, or you want a free one? So you have to understand all of that.
Wow.
And then you produce, meaning you have to create all those 3D assets and then animate them and test it. Aside from quests, which is like when you create a treasure hunt or a game that people have to do and they are rewarded. So there are many layers of things that you could do.
Yeah.
And definitely there was a challenge. We tried to create one side of the map more towards luxury and the other side more towards, I would say, mid-range brands.
Separated them.
We tried.
Yeah, because I mean, even let's say in malls, in shopping malls, or like at the shopping streets, some luxury brands, they don't want to be next to certain brands, right? Because of their reputation, because of their legacy and heritage, etc. So it's quite a difficult job that
it was
and managed to do. Yeah.
And we had a separate space that was sponsored by Wearable.
Yeah.
That was mostly for new designers and emerging names.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
And in the second edition, we kind of focus more really into bringing new designers.
Yeah.
And then some key brands, but I would say that it was less luxury. It was more streetwear. We had Adidas and Coach in the second edition.
Okay.
And a lot more visibility towards the community. Because I think at the end of the day, the first edition was really a landmark and it gave billions of impressions. The number of impressions was 7 billion impressions. It was nuts. But
all over the world.
All over the world. But I think the problem was just that how about the community? Because again, what you said in the beginning, I really care for the people in the community. So how can we bring back the attention to them? So I think our way to try that again was in the second edition to do that. And now I think Decentraland did the last edition with their own community members leading the event. But I'm not sure if, again, the metaverse is not a trendy concept. So it's a difficult sell in 2025, I would say.
But it still exists. So we have digital fashion weeks.
Yeah.
So if you would replace a physical fashion week somewhere on our planet, which one would it be with a digital fashion week?
I mean, if I had to choose
one of the fashion weeks
to replace,
yes.
I don't know if I have enough position. Well, I don't know if we should replace Paris because Paris is really, it delivers ROI.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
Right? I have to give the congratulations to Marine, the director of marketing of Federation. She rocks it, and they get so much visibility. I don't know if you saw the charts, and they show that everybody talks about Paris Fashion Week, the double.
Yeah, no, I didn't. That's a lot. Yeah, and Paris is fashion, right? And people come here to see all the big fashion houses and the shows. Yeah, okay.
So
Paris will.
I will not erase Paris because I think
keep it.
We keep it. But maybe I will look into the fashion weeks that are seeing financial hardship to keep their calendars.
Yeah.
I know that London had issues, their visibility. Right now, they're trying to figure out other ways. So I would say that if there is a financial challenge, maybe that is a great place to start testing, to reducing the calendar maybe. Maybe it's not really about not doing it, but do we need all the seasons the same way?
Yeah, that's also a good aspect.
I think maybe it's really, because I also don't like the idea of fully replacing things with digital because I think more and more people are looking back into physical experiences. Because that's where we disconnect a little bit. Yeah. We try at least.
Yeah.
So I would say I will look into where we need to save money, where is not functioning financially, and how a digital event could help. And then make sure that that digital event really is accessible. Yeah. Because sometimes people do things in platforms that is difficult to access or it doesn't load. That was
that's an issue.
The hard
or too
parts.
Technical. Yeah, that's actually true, because I remember even Berlin Fashion Week, they had for a very long time, I think it didn't exist anymore because they had also difficulties, financial difficulties. So it's not easy, but it could also be, maybe we just have a new fashion week somewhere in the world, that could be digital. That would be nice as well.
Yeah, I have a friend, Evelyn Moura, who is the founder of Village.
Oh yeah, I know her. Yeah,
she's lovely, and she's a visionary in that sense.
Yes.
I think she really speaks a lot about what can we do to make it more sustainable. And then she recently spoke. I think she announced like the World Fashion Week, and I think that this is a project I really want to help, because I think that there is something there that is really unique.
Yeah.
Because I think also that when I am not from the fashion space originally, right? I am from the art space and then got into tech and then into fashion. So when I look at fashion, I look more as a peripheral observer, right?
Yeah.
Not as a designer. So to me, sometimes I feel that when we separate the fashion weeks per city, we're also clustering the communities.
True.
And maybe today territories don't represent the same thing they did 50 years ago.
Yeah, and they don't matter as much anymore. That's very true.
So with that new understanding of identity and nation or digital nation or global village, like I think, how can we rethink fashion from that angle too? Right. So I think that's why the World Fashion Week, it's not a bad idea.
Yeah. I mean, definitely, I will check it out for sure. I have a complete different topic. I was always thinking, is there, in the digital world, is there bad taste, when it comes to fashion? Because I saw many like different designers and projects and like digital fashion, and sometimes I liked it, sometimes I didn't. But is there like kind of a bad taste or not?
That's a very interesting question. I don't think we can really judge, like if
we don't have rules there, right?
Yeah, I don't even think there is this sort of like, fashion police.
Yeah, because we have it in the real world,
right? In the physical world, it's like, what you're combining like these two colors, like purple and orange, is not Halloween yet, right? And I think it's a little bit of there's a lot less judgment in those spaces. So I think we don't have bad taste when it comes to digital fashion. But what I think digital fashion should be careful is that whenever we want to translate digital fashion to the physical world, people have to be very careful with the quality, because I see a lot of people trying that and
it looks
horrible. Not okay.
No,
and then you feel like, see, this is why traditional maisons, they don't want to be involved.
Exactly. And also this is why fashion people don't have acceptance or don't accept digital fashion houses so much, or digital fashion designers. I mean, sometimes it just feels like we have, pixels, and that's it. And that's fashion, like colorful pixels, and that's fashion. But on the other side, I actually like it that there is less judgment, because the old world, I would say, the fashion people, the fashion police, they're harsh. I mean, they're really harsh. Brutal, if not to say brutal. Yeah.
The Devil Wears Prada is always like, the Presley, she's always like,
exactly, and if the fashion police doesn't like it, if they don't like your clothes as a fashion designer, you're out. You have no chance. And it's very much, I mean, they judge you about the silhouette, right? So you have to have a certain silhouette. If you don't have it, it's not fashion, it's clothes, or just like not good enough. Yeah, or just not good enough, right?
Good enough,
so it's brutal, Another question that, because you have like this, cyborg, sci-fi interest, is like, would you like rather pass on a digital fashion archive or a vintage fashion archive to your kids?
Well, digital fashion could also be vintage at some point. Well, because I will be very honest with you, I don't know if I want to dissolve my physical. I mean, I want to become a cyborg one day, which means that I still want to have
clothes.
I still want to have clothes, and I still want to have physical body, but that body may be like Lego, like you just change parts, and then it's just connected and smart and optimized. So I don't know if I really want to just merge with the web in a conscious level and not have a physical body still.
Yeah.
So I think for me, having a vintage wardrobe is something that has a representation in time space. So it's a way to tell a story. And I think we have to understand if the digital files will do the same.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think when we study digital arts, like when you think about the beginning of web art, for example, there was a big discussion about what is digital, the simulacro, the simulation.
Yes.
Because the thing is that a digital file and you copy paste is the same file. There's no original and no copy. The copy is original and vice versa.
Yeah.
So that sometimes is, of course, with Web3, you solve that issue because if it is an NFT, it's different. It's numbered. You know which is the original, what is not.
Yeah.
But I still feel that there is something about the craftsmanship in the physical clothing that we didn't explore enough how technology will come back to that.
Yeah, yeah.
So I would prefer to see how digital fashion can impact physical clothing than just leave a legacy of digital clothing to my kids that I will never have.
I love that. I mean, there is technical clothing, right? There's technical garments. And I would love to invite a guest to talk about, like fabrics that actually are technical and that are infused by technology. And there is a lot. Yeah.
You should bring Francesca. She's the founder of Cute Circuit.
Okay.
And they do intelligent clothing, like
I will invite
T-shirt.
her.
They're like they have awards of all sorts. She's really, really incredible.
Okay, yeah, I love that. Thank you. I mean, I love like smart glasses or wearables. Anything that is wearable, I actually like because I love clothes as well, and I don't want to get rid of my clothes. I love fashion. And that's why, I would probably have a digital wardrobe and like a physical wardrobe. I love collecting vintage clothes as well, like really like French houses, vintage clothes. They're amazing, and they're just also it shows like the whole like history of fashion as well. That's why I collect them, right?
And you know that there is something that maybe it's I think there is a misconception when people talk about digital fashion and they try to say, oh, this is the digital fashion and this is the physical fashion, is that sometimes I feel that we disregard that fashion is technology. Like if you look into how fashion came to be, it's about techniques. It's about technology, industrial technology. It's about material technology. Exactly. It's textile.
The drawings, everything.
So there's
is
no way to make clothes without technology. So I think that's one claim that I have a huge problem with when you talk to people that claim so much about digital fashion and they are not expert enough in the fashion space, is that they try to say that this is going to solve a problem. And that is tech. But everything else that came before that is also tech.
Yeah, true.
So I think that what we have to find is a way to connect the two. And then I'm more about downloading things to the physical world than uploading us to the digital world.
Okay, I love that. Thank you very much for being my guest. It was really interesting to like just explore your world and your vision. I love that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It was lovely, and I'm excited to see what will be the next guests.
Yeah, I'll let you know. Thank you, visionaries, for taking a front row seat in fashion's digital revolution. If you enjoyed the episode, subscribe on your favorite platform, and don't forget to follow us on social media. This is Rewire Fashion, and the journey has only just begun. Until next time, stay inspired and keep shaping the future of fashion.